Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and in today's video, I'm going to be doing a driving comparison with the Ford Edge ST, the Chevy Blazer RS, and the Jeep Grand Cherokee Limited. All of these vehicles are relatively in the same price area. But anyways, before we get into this video, a huge shout out and thank you to the Jeep Chrysler here in Provo, the Ford here in Provo, and the Chevy here in Provo for giving me some time with all three of these vehicles. All three of these vehicles are currently available for sale for the time being. So if you're interested, I'll include a link to their inventory in the description down below. And then on a side note, if you want to save time and money, the next time you purchase a car, link to my car buying guide in the description down below. Let's get into it. Oh, we are starting off in the Edge ST, and let's see what the visibility is like in this, just so I can mentally compare it to the other two for driving comparison's sake. And my guess at the beginning of this driving comparison is this one's probably going to be the most exciting to drive, but I think that you're potentially going to be giving up some, practicality with that excitement. Potentially, not necessarily, but potentially. Yeah, I love the torque with this so far. Definitely gets up and moves at a pretty solid pace. Suspension's kind of firm on this, actually. Guess it makes sense because it's got the ST badge on it. Oh yeah, this thing's punchy. I'm just barely getting on it and it's moving. Yeah, I really like the feeling of the steering wheel, how it's perforated and everything. I think that feels great. Ride quality, again, although this is a little bit firmer, its ride quality is actually pretty good. Noise insulation also seems to be pretty good. Like, I'm not hearing a whole lot of tire noise so far. We'll see what happens when I get up to a slightly higher speed, if that changes. But let's get our full-blown acceleration here. Woo! Sounds pretty cool. This thing moves. This thing moves. It's quick. We got 69 miles of range. Nice. So summing things up here with the Edge ST before we drive the other two, I really like how this drives. It feels very sporty. It's actually really fun. It's very engaging. So if you're looking for, I guess, a more sporty drive, this one seems to definitely provide that. But the only downside I can see, actually two downsides. Although these seats are pretty comfortable, the bolsters are tighter. So if you're a bigger person, you're not really going to fit in these seats. And then the other potential downside with this is going to be that firmer ride. Some of you might not like the ride, but let's head over to the other two. Well, let's set off in the Grand Cherokee and see the visibility here. Ooh, yeah, this one's probably the best out of the bunch, honestly, in terms of visibility. Just because of how the windows are so large and very square, if that makes sense. But first thing I'm noticing is this doesn't feel as razor sharp as the Edge. The Edge definitely was on edge, right? It was a little bit sportier. This feels kind of bigger, bulkier, more floaty, if that makes sense. Which is good because the ride quality is more comfortable. It's not quite as firm as the Edge. But yeah, it definitely doesn't handle on the same level. And just feels bigger overall. Yeah, torque's not even on the same level. I mean, it's expected. This is naturally aspirated, has quite a bit less torque than the Edge. We will say ride quality is really good. Seat comfort's also good as well. Yeah, it feels like this is kind of more of a luxury vehicle rather than a sporty SUV like that Edge ST. That's what I'm initially getting so far. And see what the acceleration's like. This transmission's really smooth. Definitely have to ring it out to get it up. Definitely have to ring it out, that's for sure. But yeah, I really like how this drives. More like luxury cars. So I think set your expectation properly, right? This the steering's good. It's pretty direct, but yeah, you just feel like you're hefting around quite a bit more weight. So yeah, I feel like if you're looking for more of a luxury experience, then you're kind of okay with driving at, I guess, a little bit of a slower pace. That's what this one gives you from a driving experience perspective. You know, going over the bumps and everything, it seems like it handles them a little bit better than the Edge. So again, this one's just kind of more about luxury with the ride, more so than anything else. But let's go see how the Blazer compares. Well, let's talk about visibility before we set off. Here's visibility over the hood, both of the mirrors, and throughout the rest of the rear. And, well, let's set off here in the Blazer. Now, something to mention, I'm using this clip for the Blazer review, but then also for the big SUV comparison review as well. But let's actually just see how the Blazer drives. First off, ride quality is good. Seat comfort's pretty good. I just noticed with Chevy seats, they're all kind of like a little bit harder. It's not uncomfortable, but that's just something to kind of note. I really like the ride quality with this. Transmission's really smooth as well. Let's get going before that line of cars gets over here. Now we're just in two-wheel drive. I'm actually going to pop it into all-wheel drive now. Kind of see how it feels with that. This random pile of snow there, that's so interesting. Yeah, I really like the ride quality with this. It's very comfortable. Pretty quiet too, with the overall like road noise and everything. We'll see once we get up to a little bit of a higher speed if that changes. And yeah, engine, the auto stop starts on. That's, yeah, it's always an interesting thing to pop on. Man, there is so much traffic down here in Provo. It is rush hour though, so we do got that going against us, but we should be good to get up and move here. Pretty solid, smooth with the transitions there with the transmission and everything. Good acceleration overall. Yeah, pretty rock solid. So setting things up here with the driving with the Blazer, I think it handles really well. I think that it's comfortable too. I think the acceleration's pretty solid. I still do think though that Chevy needs to give us like a high performance Blazer. Like a Blazer with, you know, I don't care if they put the 5.3 V8 or if they put the 2.7 turbo to give, actually the 2.7 turbo probably wouldn't be high performance-y enough. Because I mean, it's got a lot of torque, but you'd want horsepower for a high performance version of this. So probably something more like the 3.0 turbo V6 that's in like the Cadillacs. That would be a good one for the Blazer. But let me know what you guys think about the Blazer. So after driving all three of the vehicles back to back, here's what I'd have to say. It's a pretty mixed bag. So the Edge definitely drives the sportiest with its powertrain and with its handling, but you do concede a little bit because of that. With the Grand Cherokee, it's definitely more on the luxury side of things. It feels the heaviest, and with the acceleration, it's probably the slowest, at least with how it feels. And then finally with the Blazer, it's kind of in between the two because it is not quite as sporty as the Edge with the driving and handling, but it's sportier than the Grand Cherokee. But then it's also kind of more comfortable like the Grand Cherokee, rather. Apparently I can't talk. And so it's kind of like this weird situation where I guess if you want a more luxury experience, the Grand Cherokee will give that to you. If you want a sporty experience, the Edge will give that to you. And if you want something that's kind of in between, then the Blazer kind of gives that to you from a driving experience perspective, because again, like I said, it feels just slightly fast in the Grand Cherokee, and then the handling definitely feels sportier than the Grand Cherokee. Let me know which one you would pick based on how they drive. That's all.